Hi everyone, it's Jaden, and today we're going to talk about chapters 10 to 12 in The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill, a Newbery Medal winning book. And this is like a big bestseller. And let's start with chapter 10, which is in which a witch finds a door and a memory too. Okay, that seems good. And when we left off last time, Zan was going to the old castle where there was Zosimo's and Byron's mother. Okay, so we're going to go back there. So she's going back there, and we're gonna see what happens. So Zan is going on that trail, right? And I have a question. When you go back somewhere where you haven't been for a long time, does it give you the creeps? Maybe at times, but other times I just remember those memories and I can get sad. But at the same time, I can be happy. I can be happy about those memories, all those memories that happened. When I look at the whatever I'm looking at, it might make me happy or sad. It makes Zan shiver, and I can see why. Like, if this is really the spot where all that happened, whoa, it would definitely make me shiver. And now, do you think that you would like to be Zan where she is, or do you think that it would be too creepy for you? Definitely too creepy for me. I don't know. I wouldn't like to go there. That's not gonna be one of the sightseeing stops. Well, maybe it would be like a ruins of the old castle. That would be fun. But still, I wouldn't go there alone. That's too creepy. Like, it's like the souls, the ghosts of everybody is still of the people who died there. Like the magic is still lingering, and that creeps me out. And now, Zan found a stone, right? And now, it said, "Don't forget." And then the other side said, "I mean it." Do you think that that was funny? Yeah, it was funny. Like, don't forget, and I mean it. That's what it sounds like. It sounds pretty funny. And I have a question. Has anybody else done the same? Has told you the same thing? Like, don't forget, and I mean it. And then, do you think that were you surprised like that? That surge of magic. Were you surprised at that? Like, where do you think that that magic came from? I thought that like the witch had come back or something, and she was trying to like kill Zan, and I sort of panicked when I read that. And I have a question too. Do you think that even if you've lost something, like even if it was a long time ago, like what's one thing that you really found annoying about something that you liked? I do not remember. I don't remember about anything. Something I liked. Mostly it's not annoying, though. I guess that one thing I liked was mosquito babies. Sounds creepy, and I didn't really like them. But in Wisconsin where I lived, lots of rain came, so the water will be pooled up in my sandbox, and then oh my, hundreds of little mosquitoes will be wriggling around in the water. Oh, but was so fun and fascinating to watch. The only problem, in summer, they were like, the mosquito empire strikes back. And they're like, oh yeah, did you see us squirming around? Well, look at this. And they suck up the blood. Oh, it was terrible. But it was pretty cool to observe the mosquitoes. Now, why didn't you have to stow this in magic? For what reason? And then suddenly, there was a door. What did you think about that? Like, could you even believe it? I was like, what? And I was like, when I realized what had happened, I was just like so shocked about it. Wow, that is cool, right? And then I have a question. What do you think that Zosimos meant when he said, be careful of your sorrow? And he says, sorrow is dangerous. Your sorrow is dangerous. Don't forget that she is still about. I think that it means like, well, think about it. If you're not careful with your sorrow, you might boil over. You might sob and sob and sob. Well, that's gonna be bad. You have to get over it. Like, for example, when I lost my yellow teddy bear when I was really young, and I loved that thing. I just like loved it. Like, I loved it so much. I carried it everywhere. And you know how when I lost it, do you know how I felt? It's probably on a tropical island right now. Yeah, we went to a tropical island and it suddenly disappeared. So I hope that somebody else is playing with it. I guess I cried a little, but I didn't like the fact that I had lost it. It wasn't that much of a big deal. Yeah, no, it wasn't. But now, do you think that Zan, when you go, she begins to remember, right? She still remembers some. Like, what's one thing that, like, when you get there, you start to remember? Well, for example, like, I have to think about that. Well, I've never been back to my home, but if I go there, I'll probably remember. I have to think about that for some time. Maybe I'll tell you if I get it. But now we actually get the truth right here. It says this. I'm going to just read this paragraph. Okay. Actually, I'm going to actually remember. I'm going to read the whole page. But now she remembered the castle. She remembered its crumbly strangeness, its nonsensical corridors, and the people who lived in the castle. Not just the wizards and scholars, but the cooks and the scribes and assistants as well. She remembered how they scattered into the forest when the volcano erupted. She remembered how she put protective spells on each of them. Well, each of them but one, and prayed to the stars that each spell would hold as they ran. She remembered how Zosimos hid the castle with each stone in the circle. Each stone was a door. Same castle, different doors. Don't forget it. Don't forget. I mean it. I won't forget, she said at 13. You will surely forget, Zan. How have you not met yourself? He was so old then. How did he get so old? He had practically withered to dust. But not to worry. I have built that into the spell. Now, if you don't mind, my dear, I have treasured knowing you and lamented knowing you and found myself laughing in spite of myself each day we were together. But that is all past now, and you and I must part. I have many thousands of people to protect from that blasted volcano, and I do hope you'll make sure they are ever so thankful. Won't you, dear? He shook his head sadly. What am I saying? Of course you won't. And he and simply enormous dragon disappeared into the smoke and plunged themselves into the heart of the mountain, stopping the eruption, forcing the volcano into a restless sleep. We now know that they were the heroes, right? These people were the heroes, and the witch, like that person telling the story, you know, that other person from the Protectorate, that guy was so wrong, right? We actually know the truth now. How surprised were you? I was surprised, but I had sort of been guessing that I don't believe Protectorate people, so I was sort of guessing that person was wrong, but still, I was really surprised when I learned this. And then Zan walked into the stone, right? We'll see what happens. Chapter 11, in which a witch comes to a decision. So, Zan got books, and then she carried it to the workshop. And I'll read what they were: books and maps and papers and journals, diagrams, recipes, artwork. For 9 days, she neither slept nor ate. What did you think? I think that this knowledge is great. I love knowledge. I love history. I like science. I like writing and reading, and I like to work on the computer. I like the news. Well, that's not much of study, but in a way it is. News is important, which means I'm familiar with politics, which is important. And I also like movies and just watching them, which is in a way good because you can get lessons and morals from movies. I'm not kidding, you can if you want. Though many people doesn't realize those big possibilities. And also, were you surprised about Luna and the cocoon? She was pinned in time and she didn't breathe, but it was like okay. Do you think that this is creepy? Or do you think that is cool, like sci-fi? Do you think we're ever going to be able to do this? It's going to take lots of scientific work and discovery, but in the future we might do this. And it might not be with magic, though we're going to have to use really, really, really big, important scientific discoveries. And I wouldn't like to be that person pinned in time, not even breathing, but it would be fun. Well, it wouldn't be fun, but it would be an adventure. And do you think they will make the mark on Luna? Maybe, but I don't really think it's going to make that much of a mark. And what do you think that Sam is doing? Well, I think that she's just... she's like sort of trying out spells, reading again, like reading those ancient lost scripts. And I think that reading these documents are important. For example, the Declaration of Independence, like the speech of Gettysburg, those are all important American speeches and documents that if you don't need to memorize them, but like the Bill of Rights, it's fun to once read and understand them, so you'll understand American history, what America is about, stuff like that, and you'll also understand, what those documents are about. And like that, maybe Zan's doing the same thing, instead with magic and not about America. And do you think that Glurk and the poet, who do you think that the poet is? I'm still wondering, but that poet, it's like okay at poetry. Look, the fool when removed from solid ground leaps from mountaintop to burning star to black space. The scholar when barefoot of scroll of quill of heavy tome falls and cannot be found. Okay. It was okay, but not the best. I mean, like, I sort of understand it, but at the same time, I don't. And Fire is like, it's not a real poem. And then, then Glurk was like, of course it's a real poem. So Fire was like, okay, well, who made it? And then Glurk closed his eyes. The poet, the bog, the world, and me. They are all the same thing, Really? Does that mean that Glurk is the poet, and at the same time the bog, and at the same time the world is Glurk, the poet, the bog, and the poet is the bog, the world, and Glurk, and the bog is the poet, the world, and Glurk? And then, Glurk is the poet, bog, and the world? I think so, which makes it just more complicated. But still, I think that they are maybe interconnected. The bog probably is a very mysterious place. And I would like to visit it one day, though, I mean, if I were in that world, I would like to visit it. And then I could write a travel guide about it. And people will be like, really? And they will pour in. The protectorate people will be freed and everybody will be happy. Trade will be flourishing through the cities. New roads will be built. Tourist attractions will be there. Many people will live in the woods and everybody will be happy and everybody will know the truth about the witch. And then the castle will be built again. Magical people would start training. And the witch, if she's still here, is gonna get killed. But I'm pretty sure that, like the other witch, because yeah, maybe there was a witch. Maybe there wasn't, even though I suspect that there actually was no witch. And now, Zan finally got her answer, right? And now, so this clock, there's like this clock, right? And then, so, so until 13, that magic is going to be tiny and it's going to be controlled. And then after that, at 13, it's going to be like, tick, tick, tick. Do you think that's going to ruin stuff? I don't think so, but maybe so. I think that maybe it might ruin some things. We're going to have to see, okay? We're going to have to see how Luna's life is going to turn out then. And now, I have a question. Do you think that Zan's magic, when do you think it's going to stop? Well, that's sad. I think that it is going to stop one day. But I think that she's still going to stay strong for a while. I think so. And now, I have a question. Do you think that Luna is going to be okay? And also, would you like to have been Luna with all that magic? Or do you think that it would just have been a burden? And finally, I have one last question before we move on to the next question. Have you ever felt like your heart has been broken? My life has been like pretty happy, so not yet, but probably I am going to have some time a broken heart, but I don't know when I'm gonna have a broken heart. Maybe when there's like when I publish a book and nobody sees it and they're like, meh. But I don't know. Maybe that's not gonna be true. Well, whatever the case, I hope that you enjoyed chapter 11 and 10. Now chapter 12. This is gonna be like, that annoying wrong guy. Okay, in this, it says, in which a child learns about the bog. I'm just gonna read it because it's like 2 pages. No, child, the witch does not live in the bog. Wrong. What a thing to say. All good things come from the bog. Not necessarily true. Where else will we gather our zerin stalks and our zerin flowers and our zerin bulbs? Where else would I gather the water spinach and muck-eating fish for your dinner, or the duck eggs and frog spawn for your breakfast? If it weren't for the bog, your parents would have no work at all, and you would starve. Besides, if the witch lived in the bog, I would have seen her. Well, no, of course I haven't seen the whole bog. No one has. The bog covers half of the world, and the forest covers the other half. Everyone knows that. But if the witch was in the bog, I would have seen the water triple with her cursed footsteps. I would have heard the reeds whisper her name. If the witch was in the bog, it would cough her out, the way a dying man coughs out his life. Besides, the bog loves us. It has always loved us. It is from the bog that the world was made. Every mountain, each tree, each rock, and animal, and the skittering insect. Even the wind was dreamed by the bog. Oh, of course you know this story. Everyone knows this story. Fine, I will tell it if you must hear it one more time. In the beginning, there was only bog and bog and bog. There were no people. There were no fish. There were no birds or beasts or mountains or forest or sky. The bog was everything, and everything was the bog. The muck of the bog ran from one edge of reality to the other. It curved and warbled through time. There were no words. There was no learning. There was no music or poetry or thought. There was just a sigh of the bog and the quake of the bog and the endless rustle of reeds. But the bog was lonely. It wanted eyes with which it would see the world. It wanted a strong back with which it would carry itself from place to place. It wanted legs to walk and hands to touch and a mouth that could sing. So the bog created a body, a great beast that walked out of the bog on its own strong, boggy legs. The beast was the bog and the bog was the beast. The beast loved the bog and the bog loved the beast, just as a person loves the image of himself in a quiet pond of water and looks upon it with tenderness. The beast's chest was full of warm and life-giving compassion. He felt a shine of love radiating outward, and the beast wanted words to explain how he felt. So there were words, and the beast wanted those words to fit together just so, to explain its meaning. He opened his mouth, and a poem came out. Round and yellow, yellow and round, the beast said, and the sun was born, hanging over, just overhead. That's like the poet, right? The poet. The beast is the poet. And it sounds like Glurk, so yeah, Glurk is the poet, and Glurk is also the bog. That makes total sense. It's just like the bog created the world. You know, since the bog is the world, Glurk is the world. Oh, I figured it out. You figured it out. We got the answer. Okay. Blue and white and black and gray and a burst of color at dawn, the beast said, and the sky was born. The creak of wood and the softness of moss and the rustle and whisper of green and green and green, the beast sang, and they were forced. Everything you see, everything you know was called into being by the bog. The bog loves us and we love it. The witch in the bog? Please, I've never heard anything so ridiculous in all my life. Yet, that child is smart. At least not smart because, he didn't base it on scientific research. But it is true. The witch lives near the bog, and Glurk lives in the bog. So, because the witch or Zan lives right by the bog, it counts that she lives in the bog. And besides, she's a good person. But we actually figured out the mystery, why Glurk is the world, the poet, everything, the bog. And I like that. Did you like that explanation? I thought that was a really good explanation. I mean, for people who did not study math or science, it's true. And since this is a magical world, this is probably the real thing that happened. Sorry. I'm trying to see the page I'm trying to turn to. Let's see. Okay, good. Well, I hope that you enjoyed chapters 10 to 12 in The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. I love this book, and we're gonna learn so much more from Zan and from Luna, and we're gonna just see how the story comes out. We've made predictions. We know what happened. We're getting to know the things that we didn't know. We're starting to fit the puzzle pieces in, and finally we know, because of the help of that protectorate person, what the people in the protectorate think, which is an important thing that we all must learn. Good. Now that we've learned all that, we're gonna now go on to the last questions. What was your favorite part in these chapters and the whole book so far? In these chapters, my favorite part was probably when Zan found the books. And I thought that was just so exciting, found the magic stone. And in the whole book, my favorite part was probably, I'll have to think about that. I thought it was funny about, how Luna made all those, was this is thing, but this is something else, but that just makes it complicated and it's hard for Zan. So in the end, I'll just say that my favorite part will be, when Luna was saved. I felt so relieved and I learned who the witch was, and that was just really good because, there a lot of stuff was resolved then. Okay, finally, we're gonna talk about favorite character and least favorite character, and also predictions and how did you like the book so far? My favorite question, because I love it if somebody says yes, that they loved it. If no, well, it's okay. Well, I love the book. I really like this, which is why I even did a book club on it. And besides, people thought it was a good book because it has the Newbery Medal. Also, I think that, what was I about to say? Oh yes, my favorite character has to be Luna or Zan or Firion or Glurk. And then my least favorite character is just the elders in general. Oh, the elders infuriate me, especially the Grand Elder. So I just hate all the elders. Just all the elders are scum and villainy. Oh yeah, I learned that from Star Wars, by the way. Watch Star Wars, especially in the last trilogy, you know, with The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. You're gonna hear some scum and villainy in the worst. And besides, I totally recommend Star Wars. It's fun. Except for the people who are really scared of lightsaber duels. It's gonna be really fun, people. So you can watch that. But I'm not advertising for Star Wars, so let's just go on. For predictions today, I'm just gonna ask 3 main questions. They are gonna be, do you think that Luna, what do you think is gonna happen? Like, do you think that when Luna, you know, becomes 13, she's suddenly gonna like have so much magic in her hands that she's gonna like explode or get like sick? Also, what do you think is gonna happen at 13? And finally, do you think that Luna is gonna have a normal childhood because of this, or do you think it's just gonna make it worse? Well, I think that she might get sick and explode, but probably not. I mean, Zan isn't an idiot, so she must have figured out something, right? And then also, I think that she's gonna be okay, and yeah, maybe she might lead the life of a normal child. Yeah, I think so, at least for the moment. And then when she's 13, well, we're gonna have to find out. Okay? See you guys next time, and I hope that you had an awesome time with the girl who drank the moon. Have a great rest of your day. Keep on reading and pursue your dreams. And remember, the sky isn't the limit. I know that. You know why? Space is.